Everybody has somebody in their circle of friends, in our case it's our daughter, who prefers to have as little meat as possible. Accommodate when it's simple, and we can have a reasonably good alternative. And thinking about various summer salads, and one of the things that always goes with those is bacon bits. Well, she wouldn't complain, but this is something simple that we can replace. And it actually is, it tastes good. It doesn't taste exactly like bacon, but it's a good alternative. And the star of the show is the evil textured vegetable protein. I know a lot of people have no idea what it is, but vegetarians and campers are very familiar with that because it's lightweight and does provide you some protein. And then the next thing we got to do is provide a little bit of maple flavor, because what's bacon without maple flavor? And you have choices on the smokiness. You can either use liquid smoke, or you can use some smoked paprika or some chipotle powder, depending on what your tastes are. Always going to use a little garlic and onion powder just because it's easy. I add tamari light. It's low in sodium, lower in some sugars, so that's why I kind of lean toward it. And finally, there's a group of syrups. Every recipe I've looked at calls for some syrups. One even called for date syrup, which I've never seen. But I will use either honey, blue agave, or some Karo syrup. Supposedly not high fructose corn syrup, but they're all very light in flavor. Blue agave has a low glycemic index, so if you have somebody that has some diabetes things, you can throw that in there, even though we're going to be using, I think, a teaspoon. So it's not that big a deal. But let's show you how to put that together. If you like this kind of information, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get more things like this. And hit the like button to let me know that this is something that you would like to see more of. Thank you. We're going to make us some vegetarian bacon style bits, sort of mock bacon bits. As laid out, first things you want to do is put the dry ingredients in, and we're going to start with, we got to use the onion powder and the garlic powder. Garlic powder we're going to want 1 teaspoon for, so we'll use the half teaspoon measure twice. And we're going to get the onion powder out. Put that in there. So we have to make this decision on the smoky part, so we go with chipotle powder. Tablespoon of that. Alright, we are pretty much done with the dry ingredients. The rest we have to figure out is what do we want for the liquids. Now, I've seen many recipes and they all call for some kind of syrup, and they're all very light, and I'm just gonna lean toward the blue agave because I happen to like its neutral flavor. All right, we're gonna do the same amount of that. A lot of the recipes call for considerably less smoked paprika or chipotle. I like more, so that's why we got more. Next thing we want is a little bit of soy sauce. I prefer the lighter soy sauce, which just means less sugar. We're going to add that in. Tablespoon of that, and we're using the tamari. And what's bacon without a little maple flavor? So we got to have a little bit of that. And we're going to use real maple syrup. We're not going to use fake stuff. And we're going to use a half teaspoon of maple syrup. Now, a lot of recipes call for liquid smoke. I normally don't use it. But if you don't use it, you still have to replace the liquid, which is basically nothing more than water, with in the recipe. So we're going to need to get a little bit of water. And right now I'm sneaking out a fork to mix and a spoon to mix this with. But let me get a little bit of water here, and we will finish this up. Okay, 1 tablespoon of water. And we're just going to mix this till it's thoroughly in there. And this is very wet, and it's going to make a very wet mixture. Alright, that's pretty good. And now for the star of the show, textured vegetable protein, which if you're a hiker, you know you hate it, but it works here. Alright, we got about 2/3, 3/4 of a cup there. Actually, there's not much left in the bag, so we might as well put the whole rest of it in. Yeah, there wasn't much in there. Alright, now we want to stir that up, get that on everything. And you can see how that's going to go on, and when it's evenly covered, we're going to put it in I'm making a mess. It's evenly covered, we're going to put it on a baking sheet with some parchment paper and put that in the oven at about 300 degrees to dry out. That way it'll last better in the fridge. I've used it this way before because I was in a hurry. Works just fine, but a little more drying out is better. And we just heard the buzzer say it's ready. So let's pull this in. And we're just going to spread this out. I know you didn't see much of that, but we're just going to spread this out. Nice thin layer. And give it 10 to 15 minutes in the oven. And then we'll be all set, and we'll use it in potato salads. Probably going to use it tomorrow in a broccoli salad. Our daughter's coming over and she prefers vegetarian stuff. So let's put this in the oven and we'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, show you these. Notice they got some dark spots on them. That's okay. Some bacon's dark, some isn't. It's all gonna. So we want to let this cool. So probably don't want to do it exactly that way, but it is what it is. So just about take a taste, make sure it's where you want. You have little crunchies or a little on the overdone side. Not too bad. Maybe should have cut it down. This time I had the convection setting on. And there's the reason you use the parchment paper. So you have very little of that to do. But this is now cooled off. You can go right into the refrigerator, because it takes a whole 6 minutes to prep it and 10 minutes to cook it, to dry it out. We're going to take care of it. That's good enough. This can go on anything. I liked it on potato salad. We're going to use it on broccoli salad tomorrow. Our daughter's coming over. So she is not a vegetarian, but she prefers to have as little meat as possible, just for a couple of health reasons. So that's what we do. There it is. There it is. Nice little mock bacon. Goes wonderful. Tastes good. It actually, the bite turn goes away when you cook it a little bit. And we'll be using this in a recipe shortly. Thank you very much.